A calm mind is a powerful mind. Think about it. In every room, in every situation, the one who remains calm is the one in control. Chaos feeds on reaction, but control belongs to the one who refuses to be shaken. You ever notice how the strongest people, the real movers and shakers, they don't lose their cool? They don't fold under pressure. They stand firm while everybody else is scrambling. That's because power isn't in the loudest voice, it's in the most disciplined mind. When your mind is trained to be calm, no situation can move you. No insult can break you. No failure can stop you, because you understand that nothing outside of you has the power to control you unless you let it. You either control your emotions or they control you. That's the truth. Look around you. People ruin relationships, lose opportunities, destroy their own peace, all because they let their emotions run wild. A single moment of anger, a single impulsive decision can cost you everything. But when you control your emotions, you control your actions. And when you control your actions, you control your destiny. Think about this. How many times have you seen someone overreact and make a fool of themselves? How many times have you regretted something you said in the heat of the moment? That's what happens when emotions take the driver's seat. But imagine being so in control of yourself that no matter what happens, you respond with power, not panic. That's the difference between being ruled by your emotions and ruling over them. Calmness is not weakness, it's strategy. See, people think being calm means you don't care, that you're passive. No. Being calm is the ultimate form of strength, because anyone can yell, anyone can react, but staying composed when everything around you is falling apart, that's a skill. That's power. The most dangerous people in the world are the ones you can't shake, the ones you can't get a reaction out of, because they've mastered themselves. And when you've mastered yourself, nobody can control you. Pause before you react. Reaction is weakness. Response is power. There's a difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is emotional, impulsive. It's what gets people into fights, into trouble, into regret. But a response, that's thought out, that's measured, that's calculated, that's control. You ever see someone who always gets provoked easily? Who always jumps at every little thing? That's someone who doesn't own their mind. And when you don't own your mind, the world will own it for you. Every situation is temporary. Don't let emotions make permanent decisions. How many times have you made a decision in the heat of the moment that you later regretted? How many times have you let temporary frustration cost you something valuable? A job, a relationship, an opportunity? The storm you're facing right now. It will pass. The anger you feel right now, it will fade. The disappointment, the frustration, the stress, none of it lasts forever. But the decisions you make in those moments, they can have permanent consequences. So never let a temporary emotion lead you to a permanent mistake. Train your mind like a muscle. Meditation, deep breathing, and discipline. If you want to be strong, you go to the gym, you lift weights, you train. But what about your mind? You think it just stays calm on its own? No. You have to work on it every single day. Meditation, breathing exercises, journaling, taking time to reflect. These are your mental workouts. Every time you pause instead of reacting, every time you choose discipline over impulse, you are building a mind that can withstand any storm. You wouldn't expect to be physically strong without training. So why do you expect your mind to be strong without effort? You don't wait for chaos to practice calm. You prepare for it daily. People think they can just be calm when life hits them, that when the pressure is on, they'll suddenly have control. No, calmness isn't something you turn on when you need it. It's something you build. You practice every single day. Just like a soldier trains for battle before the war begins, you train your mind before life tests you. That means choosing to stay composed in small moments. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when your coworker annoys you, when things don't go as planned. Because if you can't control yourself in the small moments, How will you control yourself in the big ones? Most people are addicted to overreacting. Break the habit before it breaks you. Some people don't even realize it, but they love drama, they love stress, they love the chaos, because it gives them something to react to, something to talk about. They don't know how to live without it. But that addiction, it's destroying them, it's keeping them from peace, from clarity, from real strength. And if you don't break that habit, life will keep handing you the same chaos over and over again. Because what you entertain, you invite. What you focus on, you attract. So if you keep feeding into drama, into negativity, into stress, don't be surprised when your life is filled with it. Every time you stay calm, you win a battle inside yourself. It's easy to lose control. It's easy to give in to anger, frustration, and fear. But when you stay calm, when you hold your ground, you're winning a war that most people don't even realize they're fighting. You are proving to yourself, to the world, that you are not controlled by anything outside of you, that your power is internal, unshakable, untouchable. And every time you choose calm over chaos, every time you respond instead of react, you are building a mind that cannot be broken. The person who stays calm in every storm becomes unstoppable. Life will test you. People will test you. There will be moments when everything around you is pushing you to break, to react, to fall apart. But the ones who rise, the ones who succeed, the ones who lead, they are the ones who stand tall in the storm. Because no matter what happens, they know one thing for sure: control your mind and you control your life. You either control your emotions or they control you. That's the cold, hard truth. Look around you. How many people have ruined their own lives because they couldn't control themselves for just a few seconds? A single moment of rage, a single bad decision, and suddenly they've lost their job, destroyed a relationship, burned a bridge they can never rebuild. That's what happens when you let emotions take the wheel. You crash. And the worst part, you don't even see it coming until it's too late. Imagine this: you're driving a car, but instead of keeping your hands on the wheel, you let the car steer itself. You let it swerve left and right, speeding up and slowing down however it wants. That's exactly what happens when you let emotions control your actions. You become a passenger in your own life. You're not thinking. Your emotions are thinking for you. You're not deciding. Your emotions are deciding for you. And emotions, they don't care about logic. They don't care about consequences. They care about right now, about instant reaction, about temporary satisfaction. But when the storm clears, you're left with the damage. You see it everywhere. Someone gets disrespected, and instead of taking a deep breath, instead of thinking about the bigger picture, they explode. They say something they can't take back. They let their pride write a check their future can't cash. And for what? To prove a point. To satisfy an emotion that won't even matter tomorrow. That's weakness disguised as strength. True strength isn't loud. True strength isn't impulsive. True strength is discipline. It's looking someone dead in the eye while they're trying to provoke you and saying, "You don't control me. I control me." Because here's what people don't understand. Your emotions are not facts. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act on it. Just because you're angry doesn't mean you have to lash out. Just because you're frustrated doesn't mean you have to react. Feelings are visitors. They come, they go. But if you make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions, you will destroy yourself. Think about a professional fighter. You ever seen one lose their cool in the middle of a fight? No. Because the second they do, they lose. They stop thinking. They start swinging wildly, making mistakes, leaving themselves open. The best fighters, the champions, they stay calm. They stay controlled. Because they know that the moment they let their emotions take over, they've already lost the fight. Life is the same way. If you let frustration, anger, and ego dictate your moves, you're swinging blindly. And blind swings will never land the right hit. Look at the most successful people in the world. The leaders, the winners, the ones at the top. Do you think they got there by reacting to everything? By losing their temper every time something didn't go their way? No. They got there by staying in control, by mastering their emotions instead of being mastered by them, because emotions are like wild horses. If you don't tame them, they will run you into the ground. Imagine a businessman in a high-stakes negotiation. The other side is pushing his buttons, trying to get a reaction. If he gets emotional, if he loses control, he loses the deal. But if he stays calm, if he holds his ground, he wins. That's how life works. The one who stays calm under pressure is the one who comes out on top. But controlling your emotions isn't just about success. It's about survival. You ever seen someone who lets stress eat them alive? Who carries anger, resentment, and anxiety like a weight on their shoulders? That's what happens when you let emotions take control. It's like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. Meanwhile, the person who hurt you, the situation that upset you, it's long gone. But you're still suffering because you never took control. Let me tell you something. People will test you. Life will test you. There will be moments where everything in you wants to react, to snap, to fight back. But before you do, ask yourself this: is this emotion helping me, or is it controlling me? Is this reaction going to get me closer to my goals, or is it going to set me back? 9 times out of 10, it's going to set you back. So why give it that power? Start thinking long term. Start playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Because the person who can control their emotions, that person is untouchable. They don't move unless they choose to move. They don't speak unless their words are chosen with precision. And that's what makes them unstoppable. People misunderstand calmness. They think if you're calm, you're weak. If you don't react, you're afraid. If you don't respond with fire, you don't have power. But that's where they get it all wrong. The loudest person in the room is not the strongest. The one who shouts, who throws punches, who reacts with anger, that person is easy to manipulate, easy to provoke, easy to control. Real power is in restraint. Real power is when you could explode, but you choose not to. When you could let your emotions take over, but instead you decide how to respond. That's not weakness. That's strategy. Think about a lion. The lion is the king of the jungle, not because it roars the loudest, but because it moves with precision. It doesn't waste energy on pointless battles. It doesn't chase after every little thing that disturbs it. When a lion walks, it doesn't need to announce its presence. It doesn't need to prove anything. Its presence alone demands respect. That's how a truly powerful person operates. Calm, collected, in control. Now imagine 2 people in an argument. One is yelling, throwing insults, waving their hands around. The other is standing there composed, listening, unshaken. Who has more power? The one who is losing control, or the one who refuses to be rattled? The one who stays calm owns the situation. The one who stays calm forces the other to reveal their weaknesses. Because the truth is, when you can't control yourself, you lose. Every time. People don't realize that calmness is a weapon. It makes people uncomfortable. It makes them second-guess themselves. When someone expects you to react, when they're trying to push your buttons and you don't respond the way they want, that's when you take control. That's when they start to doubt themselves. They expect a fight, but you don't give them one. Instead, you observe, you listen, you calculate. And when you do speak, when you do act, it's with precision, with power. Because when you are calm, you are thinking clearly. And when you think clearly, you cannot be defeated. Look at the greatest warriors in history, the greatest strategists. Were they the ones who rushed into battle, screaming and flailing? No. They were the ones who stood back, analyzed, waited for the right moment to strike. They didn't waste energy on meaningless fights. They didn't react emotionally. They moved with purpose because they understood that the battle is won before the first move is even made It's one in the mind. Think about the last time you let someone get under your skin. The last time you reacted without thinking. Did it help you? Did it make you feel stronger? Or did you regret it afterward? That's what happens when you let emotions take the lead. You end up saying things you don't mean. You end up making decisions that hurt you in the long run. You end up handing over your power without even realizing it. But when you train yourself to stay calm, when you discipline your mind to respond instead of react, everything changes. Suddenly, you're not wasting energy on things that don't matter. You're not getting pulled into every little argument, every little distraction. You start seeing things from a higher perspective. You start choosing where your energy goes instead of letting the world dictate it for you. And that is real strength. That is real power. Because in the end, the storm doesn't break the one who knows how to stand still. The fire doesn't consume the one who knows how to control it. The chaos doesn't destroy the one who refuses to be moved. That's what calmness is. It's not giving in to the madness around you. It's standing firm when everything else is falling apart. It's knowing that no matter what happens, you are in control of yourself. And when you are in control of yourself, nothing can control you. People think calmness is a weakness. They think if you're not reacting, if you're not fighting back with fire, if you're not raising your voice, then you're scared. But that's where they get it all wrong. Calmness is not weakness. It's a strategy. It's the sharpest weapon in a world full of people who are easily provoked, easily manipulated, easily distracted. The one who remains calm holds the real power. Because the second you react out of emotion, you've already lost control. Think about the greatest leaders, the most influential minds, the people who truly move the world. They don't waste their energy on every little thing that disturbs them. They don't engage in meaningless fights. They don't let outside noise shake them. They know that every reaction costs something: energy, focus, peace of mind. And they refuse to spend their energy on things that don't serve them. They choose their battles carefully because they understand that not everything deserves their attention. Picture a grandmaster in a game of chess. Do they move their pieces recklessly? Do they react impulsively to every move their opponent makes? No. They sit there, calm and composed, analyzing, calculating, seeing 5 steps ahead. They don't rush, they don't panic. They make their move when the time is right. And that's why they win. Because the one who stays calm controls the game. Life is no different. If you're always reacting, always emotional, always caught up in the moment, you're not playing the game, you're being played. Now, think about a person in traffic, stuck in a jam, honking, cursing, slamming their hands on the wheel. They're losing their mind over something they cannot change. Meanwhile, another driver is in the same traffic, listening to music, sipping their coffee, unbothered. Same situation. Different reactions. One is a prisoner to their emotions, the other is free. That's the difference calmness makes. It's not about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. Because the truth is, in life, you can't control everything. But you can control how you handle it. And how you handle determines everything. The strongest warriors in history didn't survive because they had the biggest swords or the loudest voices. They survived because they knew when to strike, when to wait, when to walk away. They didn't let emotions dictate their decisions. They operated with discipline, with clarity, with control. A warrior who swings wildly is a warrior who gets defeated. But a warrior who is patient, precise, and unshaken, that's the one who wins the war. Think about a time when someone tried to provoke you, tried to get a reaction out of you. Maybe they insulted you. Maybe they tested your patience. Maybe they pushed every button they could. And in that moment, you had a choice: give them what they wanted, explode, react emotionally, let them pull you into their chaos, or stay calm, stay in control, and let them reveal themselves instead. Because when you refuse to react, when you refuse to be moved, you put the pressure back on them. They expected a fight, but you didn't give them one. They expected to control you, but instead they lost control of themselves. That's the power of calmness. Look at nature. A storm can rage for hours, for days, bringing destruction, noise, and chaos. But after it's done, after the wind settles and the rain stops, what's left standing? The mountains, the ocean, the earth. The things that stayed firm, unshaken, while everything else was temporary. That's how you need to be. Let the world do what it does. Let people say what they say. Let situations rise and fall. But you remain. You stand strong. Because storms don't last forever, but those who endure them do. The world belongs to the calm. The biggest deals are won by the person who doesn't panic under pressure. The strongest relationships are built by people who don't let temporary emotions destroy permanent bonds. The most successful people don't waste time reacting to every little thing. They stay focused, disciplined, and unmoved by the things that don't matter. Because when you stay calm, you see clearly. And when you see clearly, nothing can stop you. Everything you are feeling right now is temporary. The anger, the frustration, the sadness, it's all passing through. But the decisions you make in those moments, those can last a lifetime. That's where people mess up. They let a temporary feeling dictate a permanent choice, and by the time they realize it, it's too late. Think about it. How many lives have been destroyed because of a few seconds of uncontrolled emotion? Someone gets angry, they throw a punch, they lose everything. Someone feels betrayed, they say something they can't take back, and a friendship that took years to build is gone in an instant. Someone panics, they make a reckless decision, and suddenly their whole future is derailed. That's what happens when you let emotions control you instead of controlling them. But you know what's crazy? Give it a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, and that feeling that felt so overwhelming, it's gone. The thing that made you so mad, it doesn't even matter anymore. The situation that felt like the end of the world, it was just another storm passing through, but the damage you did in that moment, that stays. The words you spoke in anger, you can't unsay them. The bridges you burned, you can't always rebuild them. The choices you made, you have to live with them. Think about a man drowning in the ocean. He panics, flails his arms, gasps for air, and in his desperation, he sinks faster. But the one who stays calm, the one who controls his breathing, keeps his movements steady, and trusts that he will stay afloat, he survives. Life is no different. The moment you start reacting wildly, without thinking, you start sinking. But if you can stay calm, if you can breathe, if you can remind yourself that this is temporary, you will find your way through it. Ever seen someone get road rage? They're losing their mind because of traffic, screaming at people who can't even hear them, letting a minor inconvenience ruin their entire day. And for what? Will yelling at the car in front of you make the traffic disappear? No. But it will put you in a bad mood. It will stress you out. It will take away your peace. Meanwhile, someone else in the same traffic is playing their favorite music, sipping their coffee, completely unbothered. Same situation, different reaction. One is a prisoner to their emotions, the other is free. And that's the difference. Think about the times in your life when you let emotions lead you. Think about the mistakes, the regrets, the moments you wish you could take back. If you had just paused, if you had just reminded yourself that emotions come and go, that every situation passes, would you have handled it differently? Of course you would have. And that's the lesson. Control your emotions, or they will control you. A true master of the mind understands that nothing lasts forever. The pain you feel today will fade. The frustration of the moment will pass. The heartbreak, the failure, the embarrassment, it's all just a storm, and storms don't last. So why make a decision that could cost you your peace, your relationships, your future, over something that won't even matter a year from now? There's a reason why the calmest person in the room is always the most powerful. They're not wasting energy on things that don't matter. They're not reacting to every little thing that tries to provoke them. They know that time will reveal everything, that patience is a weapon, and that the one who can remain steady when everyone else is losing control is the one who wins. You ever notice how the strongest trees survive the biggest storms? They don't fight the wind. They don't panic when the rain falls. They bend, they adapt, they endure. And when the storm passes, they're still standing. That's what you need to be. Unshaken, unmoved, a force that cannot be broken by temporary emotions or temporary situations. The next time you feel overwhelmed, the next time your emotions try to take over, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself, this is temporary, but the choice I make right now, that could last forever. Make sure that choice is one you won't regret. Everything you are feeling right now is temporary. The anger, the frustration, the sadness, it's all passing through like a storm that rages for a while, but eventually fades. But the decisions you make in those moments, those can last a lifetime. That's where people lose themselves. They let a moment of weakness define them. They let an emotion, something fleeting and uncontrollable, drive them into making choices they can never take back. Think about how many people have ruined their careers, their relationships, their entire future because of a few seconds of uncontrolled emotion. Someone gets angry, and in a single moment of rage, they throw a punch, they break something, they lash out, they lose their job, they lose their reputation, they lose everything. Someone feels hurt, and instead of controlling that pain, they fire back with words that cut too deep. A friendship, a bond that took years to build, is gone in an instant. Someone lets fear take over, and instead of facing it, they run, they hide, they make a reckless decision that costs them their dreams. And the worst part, days go by, weeks go by, weeks go by. The anger fades, the frustration disappears, the fear vanishes, and suddenly they're left standing in the wreckage of a life they destroyed over something that wasn't even permanent. The emotion left, but the consequences stayed. That's the danger of reacting. That's the cost of letting temporary feelings make permanent choices. Think about a man drowning in the ocean. The second he panics, the second he starts flailing and gasping for air, he sinks. He lets his fear control him, and that fear leads him to his downfall. But the man who stays calm, the one who slows his breathing, who keeps his movements controlled, who understands that if he just relaxes, he will float, that man survives. Because panic never saves you, but calmness, that's what keeps you afloat. This is life. Every situation is like a wave rising and falling, pulling you in one direction then another. Some days the water is calm. Some days the storm is violent. But no matter how strong the storm is, one thing is certain, it will pass. It always does. But if you let yourself be controlled by every wave, if you let yourself panic at every rise and fall, you will always feel like you're drowning. Instead, you need to learn to float. You need to remind yourself this will pass. The anger, the pain, the frustration, it's all temporary. But what's not temporary? The decisions you make, the actions you take, the damage you do. Look at the most successful people in the world. The strongest leaders, the ones who built empires, the ones who have mastered the art of life. Do you think they got there by reacting to every little thing? Do you think they allowed their emotions to push them into bad decisions? No. They understood that emotions are like weather, always changing, never constant. And they trained themselves to be the mountain that doesn't move no matter how hard the wind blows. They made choices based on logic, strategy, discipline, not fleeting emotions. Imagine two people in a heated argument. One is yelling, their face red with anger, losing control, saying things they'll regret. The other, calm, observing, choosing their words carefully. Who has the real power in that moment? Not the one who is loud, not the one who is explosive, but the one who refuses to be shaken. Because the one who stays calm owns the situation. They dictate the outcome. They force the other person to reveal their own weakness. The real test of strength is not how loud you can get. It's not how fast you can react. It's how much control you have over yourself when everything around you is pushing you to lose it. Can you pause? Can you breathe? Can you step back and see the bigger picture? Because most of the time, the things that make you angry today won't even matter a year from now. The things that make you emotional, that feel so overwhelming in the moment, will be nothing but a memory. But the way you respond, that can leave permanent scars. Think about the strongest warriors in history, the ones who survived battle after battle. They didn't rush into fights without thinking. They didn't let emotions dictate their moves. They waited. They strategized. They stayed calm even in the face of chaos, because the warrior who swings blindly out of rage is the one who gets defeated. But the warrior who stays focused, the one who knows that timing is everything, that's the one who wins the war. You ever seen a fire spread? It starts with just a spark, a single flame. But if you throw gasoline on it, if you fuel it, it burns everything in its path. That's what happens when you react emotionally. That's what happens when you let your anger, your frustration, your fear take control. You turn a small problem into an uncontrollable fire. But if you learn to contain it, if you learn to suffocate the flames before they spread, you stay in control. You stop the destruction before it even begins. There's a reason why the calmest person in the room is always the most powerful. Because they are untouchable. They don't get pulled into meaningless fights. They don't waste energy on things that don't matter. They don't let anyone else decide their emotions for them. They stand firm while the rest of the world moves in chaos. And because of that, they win. The next time you feel your emotions rising, the next time life pushes you to react, stop. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Is this worth a permanent consequence? Because most of the time, the answer is no. Most of the time, the storm is only temporary. And the only thing that matters is whether you let it pass or whether you let it destroy everything in its path. Your mind is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. But most people don't train their minds at all. They let their thoughts run wild, let their emotions control them, let distractions pull them in every direction. And then they wonder why they feel overwhelmed, why they break down under pressure, why they can't find peace. It's because they never took the time to strengthen the one thing that controls everything, their mind. Imagine someone who never works out, never lifts a weight, never builds any strength. One day, they have to carry something heavy and they collapse under it. Their body wasn't prepared. It failed them because they never trained it. Now, apply that to your mind. If you never train yourself to stay calm, if you never practice controlling your emotions, if you never build that mental discipline, what happens when life throws something heavy at you? You collapse. Not because you're weak, but because you never prepared yourself to be strong. Every day you have the chance to train your mind. Every situation that tests you is a weight you can lift. Someone cuts you off in traffic. That's a chance to train your patience. Someone insults you. That's a chance to practice control. Life doesn't get easier, but you can get stronger. And the stronger you get, the less things shake you. The less things disturb your peace. The less power the outside world has over you. Meditation isn't just about sitting in silence. It's about control. It's about learning how to take command over your thoughts instead of letting them command you. The person who can sit in silence and still their mind is the person who can walk through chaos and stay unshaken. Deep breathing isn't just about relaxation. It's about training yourself to respond, not react. When emotions rise, when anger builds, when fear takes hold, the person who controls their breathing controls their state of mind. And discipline. Discipline is the foundation of everything. Without discipline, your mind is a slave to whatever it feels in the moment. But with discipline, you are the master. You decide what deserves your energy. You decide what is worth your reaction. You decide how you move, instead of being moved by everything around you. Think about a soldier in the middle of a battlefield. Bullets flying, explosions shaking the ground, chaos everywhere. The untrained mind panics, freezes, makes reckless decisions. But the trained mind, the one that has been through rigorous discipline, the one that has prepared for high-pressure situations, that mind stays focused. That mind doesn't let fear take over. That mind moves with precision because it has been trained for this exact moment. That's what mental training does. It prepares you for the battles of life. You ever notice how some people stay calm under pressure? When everything is going wrong, when everyone else is losing control, they're steady. It's not because they don't feel stress. It's not because they don't have emotions. It's because they have trained themselves to handle the weight of the moment. They have built the strength to stand firm when life tries to push them over. Discipline means doing the hard things, even when you don't feel like it. Waking up early when your mind tells you to sleep. Staying silent when your emotions tell you to explode. Pushing through when your body tells you to quit. Most people let their feelings decide their actions. But feelings are temporary. They come and go like the wind. If you let them control you, you will always be at the mercy of whatever emotion shows up that day. But if you train your mind, if you build discipline, you become the one in control. You decide your actions, not your emotions. Picture two people in the same storm. One is screaming, panicking, running in circles. The other is standing still, watching, analyzing, waiting for the right moment to move. The storm is the same, but their reactions are different. And the one who stays calm, that's the one who survives. That's the one who wins. Because the storm is always temporary, but the strength you build in it, that stays with you forever. Every morning you wake up, you have a choice. Let your emotions control you, or take control of your emotions. Let the world dictate your state of mind, or train yourself to be unshaken. The strongest people in the world, the most successful, the most powerful, they are not the ones who react to everything. They are the ones who remain steady, no matter what is happening around them. They are the ones who have trained their minds to be stronger than their circumstances. Training your mind isn't easy. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes failing and trying again. But the alternative is a life where every little thing controls you, where every obstacle breaks you, where every bad moment ruins your peace, and that's not the life you want. Because when your mind is strong, when your mind is trained, when your mind is disciplined, nothing can break you. You don't wait for chaos to practice calm. You prepare for it daily. You don't wait for the storm to hit before you learn how to stand strong. You don't wait for the fire to start before you learn how to control it. Because when chaos arrives, it doesn't ask if you're ready. It doesn't give you a warning. It doesn't give you time to figure things out. It hits fast and it hits hard. And if you haven't trained yourself to stay calm, if you haven't built the discipline to control your emotions, that chaos will own you. Look at the greatest warriors, the strongest leaders, the most unshaken minds in history. They didn't develop their strength in the middle of battle. They didn't learn how to stay calm while the fire was already burning. No, they trained for it every single day. When there was no war, they prepared for war. When there was no storm, they built shelters in their minds. When life was easy, they still trained hard because they knew when the test comes, you don't get to prepare. You either are prepared or you break. Think about a boxer. He doesn't step into the ring for the first time on fight night. He doesn't learn how to throw a punch during the match. No, he has trained for months, years, in silence, in sweat, in exhaustion, long before the fight even begins. That's why he can stay calm when the punches start flying. That's why he doesn't panic when he gets hit. That's why he doesn't waste energy reacting wildly. Because he has trained for this exact moment. His body already knows what to do. His mind already knows how to respond. And that's exactly how life works. If you don't train yourself to handle pressure when things are calm, you won't be able to handle it when things go wrong. Most people don't train for the storm. They live comfortably, reacting to life as it comes, never preparing for the moments when things go wrong. And then, when the pressure hits, when the stress builds, when life throws them into the fire, they crumble, they panic, they react instead of respond. Not because they're weak, but because they never prepared to be strong. The best time to train your mind is when things are good. When life is steady, when there are no problems, that's when you practice discipline. That's when you build control. That's when you learn how to keep your emotions in check. Because if you only try to learn calmness when everything is already chaotic, it's too late. If you only try to control your anger when you're already furious, you've already lost the battle. If you only try to be patient when the situation is already testing you, you're unprepared. Think about a firefighter. They don't wait for the fire to start before they learn how to put it out. They train every single day. They prepare before the fire ever comes. So when the alarm rings, when the flames rise, they don't panic. They already know what to do. They already know how to respond. That's why they can stay calm in a burning building. Because their training has made it automatic. Their mind has already been conditioned for the chaos. And that's what you need to do for yourself. Every day, life gives you opportunities to train your mind. Every challenge, every frustration, every delay. It's all a chance to build control. Sitting in traffic and feeling impatient. That's training. Someone saying something rude to you. That's training. Having a bad day but choosing to stay focused. That's training. You don't wait for the real test to start building strength. You lift the small weights every day so that when the heavy ones come, you don't collapse. Most people let their emotions drive them. They wake up, and if things are good, they feel good. If things are bad, they feel bad. They let the outside world control their inner peace. But the people who have mastered themselves, they are calm no matter what is happening around them. They are steady even in the middle of chaos because they didn't wait for the storm to learn how to stand strong. They built that strength long before the storm arrived. Imagine you are in the ocean. The waves are crashing, pulling you under, tossing you around. If you fight the waves, if you panic, if you start thrashing, you'll sink. But if you learn how to float, if you practice staying still, if you train yourself to breathe and trust, you'll stay above the water. The ocean didn't change. The waves didn't disappear. But you changed. Your response changed. And that's what makes all the difference. You don't build a strong mind when life is easy. You build it when life is testing you. And the more you train, the less anything can shake you. The more you prepare, the less control the outside world has over you. Because when you have mastered yourself, nothing can break you. Most people are addicted to overreacting. It's like a knee-jerk reflex. Something goes wrong, and they jump into action without thinking. They let emotions take over, allowing a single moment, a single inconvenience, to dictate their entire mood. Someone cuts them off in traffic, and they instantly start cursing and yelling, giving their peace away to someone who doesn't even care. Someone says something hurtful, and they lash out, throwing away years of friendship over one comment. These people let their emotions hijack them, leaving them feeling drained, angry, and regretful once the dust settles. Why? Because they're addicted to overreacting. But overreaction, it doesn't help. It doesn't fix the problem. In fact, it often makes it worse. It's a habit that is slowly breaking them. And if they don't break the habit first, it will break them. Look around you. How often do you see people who are constantly angry, constantly on edge, always ready to snap? They can't take a joke. They can't take criticism. They can't take any form of discomfort without exploding. It's a constant cycle of emotional outbursts. And when the emotions settle, They're left with the aftermath, hurt feelings, broken relationships, regret, and the haunting question, why did I let that happen? They're addicted to overreacting, and it's controlling their lives. And that addiction is so easy to fall into. It's so easy to let the emotional floodgates open when something doesn't go your way. But the problem is, once you start, it gets harder and harder to stop. The more you react, the more you train yourself to always react. And pretty soon, you find yourself in a constant state of stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. You become a prisoner to your own impulses. And the worst part, you don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. Overreacting is a habit. It's a pattern of behavior that you've learned over time, and it's not something that just happens overnight. It's built up by repeated moments where you let your emotions control you. The next time something goes wrong, ask yourself, is this really worth reacting to? Is this worth losing your peace over? Most of the time, the answer is no. Most of the time, the thing that made you angry or upset will have no impact on your life in a week, a month, a year. So why throw away your inner peace for something that doesn't even matter in the long run? But breaking the habit of overreacting isn't easy. It's not just about telling yourself, I'm not going to react this time. It's about retraining your brain. It's about learning how to pause, how to take a step back, and how to breathe before you do anything. Think about it like this. When you're learning to drive at first, you're nervous. You're watching every move, paying attention to every turn. But after a while, driving becomes second nature. You don't think about it as much, and sometimes you don't even remember how you got from one place to another. Your body has trained itself to respond automatically without much thought. But that's the power of habit. And if you let your emotions control you, you'll build the habit of reacting every time something happens. To break the habit, you have to consciously choose to pause. The moment something triggers you, take a deep breath. Inhale, hold for a second, and exhale slowly. It's that simple. Just by pausing, you give yourself space between the stimulus and the response. You give yourself the chance to choose how you want to react instead of just reacting out of impulse. And when you start practicing that pause, you'll notice something incredible. Your life begins to change. You stop feeling so emotionally drained. You stop carrying around the weight of every little problem. You stop losing your peace over things that don't deserve it. Take a moment to think about the last time you overreacted. What was the cost? Maybe it was an argument that went too far. Maybe it was a moment of rage that led to something you can't take back. How did you feel afterward? Did you feel good? Did you feel proud of yourself? Or did you feel empty, wishing you had handled it differently? We've all been there. We've all reacted, said things we didn't mean, made situations worse than they needed to be. But the key is recognizing that you have the power to change. You have the power to stop overreacting. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic, you have a choice. Will you let your emotions take control, or will you take control of your emotions? The next time someone pushes your buttons, will you let them win, or will you win by staying calm and composed? Here's the truth: life doesn't always go your way. People will disappoint you. Things will go wrong. You will face obstacles, and sometimes it will feel like the world is against you. But that's the test. That's when you get to decide how you respond. The more you practice staying calm, the stronger your mind becomes. You become less reliant on external circumstances to dictate your mood. You start to realize that the only thing you can control in life is you. You can't control what people do or what happens in the world, but you can control how you react. Think about the calmest people you know. They don't overreact. They don't let the little things get to them. They are steady, and because they are steady, they're able to see the bigger picture. They don't let the small stuff ruin their peace. And when you stop reacting to every little thing, when you stop giving your energy away, you'll be amazed at how much more control you have over your life. You'll be amazed at how much more peace you feel. You'll be amazed at how much more powerful you are. The habit of overreacting is a trap, but the habit of staying calm, of pausing before you act, is the key to living a peaceful, powerful life. So start today, break the habit before it breaks you. Every time you stay calm, you win a battle inside yourself. You win a battle over your emotions, your fears, and your impulses. The truth is, life will constantly throw challenges at you, and the people around you will test your patience, your tolerance, and your peace. But the real war isn't with the external world. The real war is inside you. It's how you control your response. It's how you master your emotions when they are at their peak. Because in that moment, you're not just reacting to the situation. You're shaping your future, shaping your character, and shaping the kind of life you want to lead. And when you stay calm, when you don't let the chaos and noise of the world steal your peace, you're the one who wins. Think about it. Life is full of small battles. You wake up in the morning and face a world that's already moving fast. Maybe you wake up late. Maybe you spill coffee on your favorite shirt. Maybe someone says something to get under your skin. These small things, these little annoyances, are battles. The world is trying to knock you off course, to make you lose your balance, to make you react impulsively. And that's where most people fail. They react, they don't pause. They let the world dictate their response. They let frustration, anger, or fear take control. But the ones who stay calm, the ones who breathe through it, they win. I'm not talking about being emotionless. I'm not saying you should become some cold, robotic figure who feels nothing. No, I'm talking about taking control of your emotions instead of letting them control you. I'm talking about not letting a bad situation turn into a bad day into a bad week, and a bad week into a bad life. Because life has a way of throwing curveballs. Things won't always go as planned. People won't always treat you the way you deserve. And the unexpected will always find a way to surprise you. But in those moments, when your heart starts racing, when your temper flares, when you feel like everything is slipping out of your hands, that's when you have the power. That's when you have the chance to choose who you're going to be in that moment. Staying calm doesn't mean pretending things don't bother you. It doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you have the strength to pause, to breathe, and to choose your next move wisely. Think about the last time someone said something hurtful to you. The first instinct is to retaliate, to defend yourself, to lash out. But the real victory comes when you choose not to react. When you choose to hold your tongue, when you decide that peace is more important than pride, you win in that moment, and that victory builds your strength for the next battle. Let's bring this to daily life. Think about the last time you got stuck in traffic. You're already running late, and now you're stuck, surrounded by a sea of cars. The frustration builds. The anger rises. It's easy to start fuming, to scream at the drivers around you, to let your mind spiral into frustration. But what happens if you stay calm instead? What happens if you take a deep breath, put on some music, and accept that this moment is out of your control? You stop fighting the traffic. You stop giving your energy to something that isn't worth it. And in that moment, you win. You take back control. You protect your peace. Every time you stay calm, you train your mind to handle pressure better. You become stronger, more resilient, and more focused. Life isn't always about the big victories. It's about these small moments of control, these small battles where you choose peace over chaos. When you stay calm, you don't just win the moment. You build the foundation for a life that is less reactive, more mindful, and more in control. And that's where the real power lies. Let's look at an example many of us can relate to the workplace. How many times have you had a conversation with a colleague, a boss, or a client, and things started to escalate? The tone of the conversation rises. The words start to get sharper. The situation starts to get tense. Most people, when faced with this kind of pressure, will react. They'll get defensive, they'll get angry, and they'll make the situation worse. But the person who stays calm, the person who takes a deep breath, who listens instead of reacting, they walk away with the upper hand, they've gained the respect of the other person, and they've controlled their emotions. They've won not just the conversation, but the power to maintain their peace no matter the situation. Staying calm doesn't just give you control over your emotions, it gives you control over your actions. It gives you the ability to respond instead of react. You don't have to give in to every little thing that triggers you. You can decide how you want to act, and you can choose to take the high road. You can choose to keep your integrity intact no matter what's happening around you. The world is full of people who will try to provoke you, who will try to get under your skin, who will test your patience. But when you stay calm, when you don't let them win, you become the master of your fate. You remain in control, and you take the power back. Think about someone who's been through tough times, someone who's faced adversity and challenges. These people didn't make it through by reacting to everything that went wrong. They made it through because they stayed calm. They took the time to think, to breathe, to process. They didn't let the chaos of life pull them under. They stayed grounded, and as a result, they grew stronger. They learned from every challenge, they became wiser, and they became more resilient. They didn't let the setbacks define them. They used them as fuel to grow, to adapt, and to rise. So, every time you stay calm, you are building yourself. Every time you don't react, you are training your mind to be stronger. You're building mental toughness, emotional intelligence, and the ability to face life's challenges with composure. And the more you practice it, the more it becomes second nature. Staying calm isn't a weakness, it's a superpower. It's the key to winning the battles inside yourself. And once you start winning those battles, there's nothing that can stop you. In life, storms will come, and they will test you. They won't announce their arrival. They won't wait for you to get ready. They'll hit when you least expect it, when you're not prepared, when you're already tired, or when you think you have everything under control. These storms are not just literal. They come in many forms of personal loss, a sudden financial crisis, a relationship that's falling apart, or even just the pressure of juggling too many responsibilities. But here's the thing, life storms are inevitable. They are a part of the journey. It's not about whether or not the storm will come. It's about how you respond when it does. The real question isn't, will you face hardship? The real question is, how will you face it? Will you let the storm knock you down, drown you in your own emotions, and leave you feeling powerless? Or will you stand firm, stay grounded, and let the storm pass through while you remain unshaken? The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the ability to remain calm in the midst of the chaos. Because the person who stays calm in every storm becomes unstoppable. That person can weather any challenge, handle any pressure, and emerge from the storm stronger than before. Think about it, the calm in the storm isn't just about physical stillness. It's about mental stillness. It's about having the ability to quiet your mind when everything around you is spinning. It's about having the presence of mind to think clearly, to make decisions without rushing, and to stay focused on what's important even when it feels like the world is falling apart. It's about controlling the one thing you can control, the way you respond. And when you learn how to do this, you unlock a power within you that is simply unstoppable. Let's break this down with a daily life example. Imagine you're facing a major setback. Maybe you just lost your job, or maybe a project you've been working on for months just fell apart. The first thing that happens is panic. Your mind races, your heart starts to beat faster, and you feel a surge of anxiety creeping in. Your first instinct might be to react, to throw yourself into action, to do something, anything, to fix the situation. But the problem with that is that when you're operating from a place of panic, you don't think clearly. You don't see the full picture. You make hasty decisions that may make things worse. Now, picture this: the same setback happens, but this time you choose a different path. You don't immediately react. Instead, you take a deep breath. You give yourself a moment of stillness. You allow your mind to settle, and in that moment of calm, clarity emerges. You see options, you see possibilities that weren't visible before. And in that calm space, you make better decisions. You know what to do next. You're able to navigate the storm without letting it control you. That's the power of calmness in the storm. It gives you the ability to choose your response. It gives you the ability to act with purpose and intention instead of reacting out of fear, stress, or panic. And when you make decisions from a calm place, those decisions are always stronger, clearer, and more effective. Here's the secret: the storm will always pass. The challenge, the hardship, the setback, they are all temporary. What doesn't pass, however, is your ability to stay calm and centered through it all. That's the skill that will carry you through the toughest times of your life. It's the skill that will make you unstoppable. Think about the strongest people you know, whether they're leaders, athletes, or just everyday people who've been through tough times. What sets them apart? It's not that they don't feel fear. It's not that they don't experience pain or frustration. What sets them apart is their ability to control their response. They've learned to stay calm, to stay composed, even when the world is testing them. And because they have that ability, they can face anything. This is why the ability to stay calm in every storm is such a superpower. It makes you bulletproof. It makes you immune to the negativity, the pressure, and the chaos that life throws your way. It makes you unshakable. And once you master it, once you understand how to control your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions, there is nothing that can stop you. There will be people who try to bring you down. There will be moments when it feels like the world is against you. There will be challenges that seem impossible to overcome. But when you stay calm, when you center yourself and tap into that unshakable strength, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. The storm may rage, the winds may howl, but you will remain standing. And here's the truth: the calmest people aren't the ones who avoid storms. They're the ones who have learned how to face them head on. They've trained themselves to be calm, to be steady, to be resilient. And because they've done that, they walk through life with a sense of power that few others will ever understand. The storms will come, but you don't have to let them destroy you. You have the power to remain calm, to weather the storm, and to come out the other side stronger than before. That's what makes you unstoppable. So when the next storm comes, and it will come, remember, the calmest in the storm are the ones who emerge victorious. In life, we often get so caught up in the chaos that we forget one of the most powerful truths: the storm doesn't define us. The way we respond to the storm does. Life will test you. It will push you to the limit. It will challenge you in ways you never imagined. But the one thing that will separate those who succeed from those who fall is the ability to remain calm no matter what life throws your way. Imagine this: a leader in battle, standing on the front lines while the chaos of war rages around him. Bombs explode, people fall, but he remains calm, steady, unwavering. He knows that the outcome of the war, the success of his mission, depends not on reacting in fear or anger, but on remaining composed, strategic, and in control. That leader doesn't panic. He breathes, assesses the situation, and makes decisions based on clarity, not impulse. He knows that while the storm rages outside, his inner calm is what will guide him to victory. And in your life, you are that leader. You've seen the greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, and the most inspiring people in the world. What's one thing they all have in common? They've mastered their minds. They've learned how to control their emotions. They've learned that the key to success is not in avoiding hardship or escaping adversity, but in remaining calm when it matters most. When the world is falling apart, they don't panic. They focus. They act with purpose. They make decisions with clarity. And because of that, they rise above the chaos while others are left behind. It's easy to be reactive. It's easy to let the pressures of life knock you down and leave you feeling helpless. It's easy to let frustration, anger, or fear take over and make decisions for you. But it's in those moments when everything feels out of control, when it feels like the storm will swallow you whole, that you must take a deep breath and stand tall. You must remind yourself that you are in control of your reaction. You have the power to remain calm, to think clearly, and to act with purpose. We've all heard the saying, it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Those words spoken by the great Rocky Balboa remind us that strength isn't about being perfect. Strength is about resilience. It's about staying grounded, staying true to yourself, and rising every time you fall. It's about understanding that the challenges you face are not there to break you. They are there to make you stronger, to sharpen you, to turn you into the best version of yourself. Think about the most successful people in history, the people who changed the world. Whether it's Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, or Nelson Mandela, they all faced overwhelming adversity. They all encountered storms that seemed impossible to navigate. But what set them apart wasn't their ability to avoid these storms. It was their ability to stay calm in the midst of them. They faced the storms head on, and in doing so, they transformed the world around them. They understood that the greatest power lies in maintaining inner peace when the world is at its most chaotic. Every storm you face is a test of your character, a test of your resolve, a test of how strong your mind is. And every time you remain calm in the storm, you pass that test. You don't just survive, you thrive. Because when you stay calm, you don't just keep your peace, you keep your power. You don't let the storm take anything from you. You remain in control of your thoughts, your actions, and your destiny. The greatest minds in history understood this truth. When the world was falling apart, they didn't fall apart with it. They stood firm. They remained focused. They understood that the mind is a powerful force, far more powerful than any external situation. And the moment you realize that your calmness is your greatest strength, that's the moment everything changes for you. You want to live a life of purpose, a life of impact. It starts with mastering your mind. It starts with knowing that you don't have to react to everything that comes your way. You don't have to allow every frustration, every setback, every hardship to control you. You have the power to decide how you will respond. And the more you practice staying calm, the more powerful you become. You will become someone who others look to for strength, for guidance, for stability. As you walk through life, remember this, you are the calm in your storm. You are the steady force that can weather anything. And when you master this, when you understand that your peace is your power, nothing can stop you. You will rise above every challenge, every setback, every obstacle. You will live a life that is not dictated by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond to what happens. Because you are in control of your mind, and with that control comes limitless power. So stand tall, stay calm, and let the world see what happens when you choose peace over chaos. You are unstoppable.